to the stream.
So, I do apologize for the rather spontaneous exit there. My OBS just crashed, and I had to restart my computer. And in between, after I restarted my computer, I just said, okay, does OBS work? Yes, it does. Okay, I'm going to eat some food. So I went and got some food, rather than immediately starting back up. Excuse me. So, we are sitting at 99%, so this battle should take us to the next level. Excuse me. And my goal here is to basically just murderate everything around here in good capacity. I guess it was actually very silly of me, now that I think about it, to just wander back and forth right here, because I'm leveling up now, so I could have done the sensible thing. Okay, so we're going to level up. We are going to do another magic defense level for our monk to basically trivialize magic damage to him and get him in good shape. And Komonitin, I don't think, needs to keep pumping magic defense for now. I think that just physical defense is a good investment for him, and we're just going to keep pumping 1 point, and then I'm actually going to just pump all of these guys with this. Alright, so... Excuse me. So we've invested a pretty decent amount into getting ourselves capable. We'll see how capable we are. So Freeze comes out, it's 44 damage to Sordrel, which is a lot better than it used to be. It's not perfect, but we've had 3 freezes come out, and that's only 120 damage, which is fine. So he's going to survive. I do apologize. I did just eat, so my reflex is acting up a little bit. So Sordrel is just going to one-shot things, and the rest of the party is going to, hopefully, clean house. Perfect. That's perfect. Okay, so we're 200 HP down, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. And now, we're just going to head back and hopefully be able to just beat up that Trant. And so yeah, let's do it. The excuse me. The Trant probably won't be too difficult. That Freeze, by the way, is really, really weak right now. Causes a net 6 points of damage on Sordrel when it's used. So, assuming that there's only one casting it, obviously. And they do tend to spam, but we should be in pretty good shape here, I think. And speaking of pretty good shape, now we get a chance to see 5 damage coming out from those guys' chills, so... Sordrel's in very good shape, actually. We should be able to have an easier time farming things and just generally keeping him alive. I feel like everyone else is in a pretty good position, and it's just keeping Sordrel alive that's the major problem that we have now. Ugh, through those crits. Okay, so I think Oberon should be able to trivialize most of the damage output of this boss. Took a while, but eventually I got around to it. So we're still about 200 HP down, so that's good. We just took down one of the biggest packs that we ever will have to deal with. And we have 2k to go before he's got his next thing. As for him, I feel like Defender... or Magic Training. I think Defender. Defender is really good. So with Defender, he'll be able to cast that and get one person to be damn near unkillable. As for this young man, we pretty much still need... No, we need concentration. We've had too much difficulty actually hitting enemies that we shouldn't have trouble killing. And he has access to... It's so tempting to get Magic Blackguard's defense, but we don't need it. Okay, so, Trance out. We're going to use a sidestep. We're going to use Punch, and we're going to use... I don't know what I want to use, actually. I guess we'll use Defender on Komanaten, because I know Komanaten's in the front row. Hamstring it. Okay, so it used Smite. So it hit for 96 on Oberon. We've got a Smite going out. And this thing has something that I'm going to want to steal, but I don't actually know what it is, so... Ooh! Big hits, and I'm done. Okay, so... I don't actually know what I'm stealing here, so I want to steal it first. I also want to get an idea of how much HP it has. Let's see. There's so much mana on Baron now. Alright, so what needs to happen here, because I can't steal, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to... This definitely seems to be doing exclusively physical attacks, and its physical attacks are hitting reasonably hard, and I am a dope who does not have a defensive setup, I think. So, we've got a reasonably defensive setup for Varan, but what we really want is for Varan to be in the back row, him to be in the front row, because he can have the thing active. Here's Steelman. Actually, I don't need to completely dismantle my defense. I can have just him equip this. I'm not going to do the other thing. And let's see, we've got a thick sword equipped. I think that's sufficient. I wish that I had the cover one for him. We're going to equip the Magic Wardrobe. It's 151 defense for him. And I am going to equip Iron Shields on these guys, because that's 2 damage from every attack that I do not have to deal with. Won't necessarily add up to anything, but I can pretend. Okay, so we're set there. Let's try this. Okay, so we need to sidestep. And he's going to use defense stance on himself. I'm gonna have him taunt. Sure. Okay, good. So Smite failed. We've got a sidestep going out. I'm gonna go ahead and taunt with Oberon. I thought that I actually had the ability to go first, which is why I cast Defense Stance on Komanaten, is that I was thinking that he would get that spell off before the enemy attacked. So instead, we're going to go ahead and... We're not going to smite, we're going to defend. Steal. Small SP orb, not what I'm looking for. So that's a smite. Unfortunately, we're not going to be in the kind of shape that I'd like to be in. Okay. Poison ring stolen. That's actually a really big deal. So the poison ring means that I can slap that on somebody. Probably slap it on Sordrel, because with that, there's no way to bypass my healing. Okay, so... Gonna reapply a hamstring. Okay, Komanaten is injured. I'm gonna apply Healing Trance to Komanaten. That way he doesn't have to heal himself more than once. I'm also going to do a Healing Steel, because the Healing Steel will come out first, I believe. That's a yes, so boom. 94 damage to Oberon. We don't need to worry about Komanaten for the next 5 turns, which will hopefully be enough to survive the whole map. So... I'm gonna hit him once, and then I'm gonna... Whew. I'm gonna hamstring him next fight, or next... Hopefully there isn't a next fight. I'll hamstring him next turn. Because I don't think he'll last 5 more turns after this point. And I think we'll be okay here. We just need to keep poking at him. And Komanaten has the regen active, so that hit doesn't actually do any damage. And I might have misjudged how much HP this guy has. I shouldn't have hamstrung when I did. Because I might actually run out now. I was thinking that I might cast a spell, but I'm not going to. So we got 300 damage coming out from Sordrel. Everybody else is kind of just poking him. Komanaten is no longer healing. So, nice. So we have a full round of attacks coming in. And everybody's effects just wore off. Probably the bosses. Shit. So it landed a hit on Sordrel. And Komanaten is in one-shot range. That sucks. So this guy is tougher than I thought he was going to be. He has way more HP than I expected. So... how do I want to handle this guy? So that's the end of the fight. That was a very long fight. That is extremely long. So, with a fight lasting that long, is there any equipment that I can change up? I basically need Komonogen to be slightly more tanky. If I were to give him Thorned Armor, that's an additional 40-some damage that's coming out if he gets hit. I don't think it's a wise plan. So... how do I handle you? Excuse me. Skills I can learn, but... if I gained magic training, then I'd have the ability to throw out a couple more double attacks. But I think that I'm better off waiting until Fist of Fury. There's no reason to screw myself over like that. Okay, for him... okay, I think I just need to make sure that I'm actually doing more damage as I'm coming out here. So let's get the sidestep out and get defense stance up on Komonogen. He needs to always have defense stance up, otherwise he's going to get one shot. So I'm going to go ahead and taunt. Do I want to taunt? Screw taunt. Rather than taunting, I think I'm actually going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to cast Defensive Stance on Oberon, cast Defender on Komonogen. Okay, I now have the ability to use a double attack, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I could use a healing trance on him, but 30 defense gives me minus 60 damage taken. I think he might zero out the damage right now, so I don't think I want to cast it until most of the turns are gone. I can now smite and steal. Small XP orb stolen. Actually, I'm going to use a different type of heal. I'm going to use a healing steal. Because I think this thing has reasonably low... I guess I need to worry about hamstring though. I think it has reasonably low agility, so I don't think my odds of stealing are particularly low. But I have been wrong before. So we've got him paralyzed. Shit. That's bad. Steel's a failure. And that's a big smite going into Oberon. So we're gonna reload. I realized that I actually have 30 MP missing on Monoton right now, which is suboptimal. So hamstring's out. Whew, it's a good thing I got that hamstring out when I did too. So Komonoton is not going to be able to do anything, but we've got Defender on him, so he should be able to tank the hits. Just in case, I think I do need to use a healing steel. This is a battle where I do have to be concerned about whether I can actually survive the battle. I can't just take for granted that I'm gonna win the battle. I need to actually... There we go. So we got the poison ring. That's very good. We've got 5 defense. And I'm gonna have him use Healing Trance because I don't think that mana is going to be an issue for him. And I'm going to... I'm going to see if I can get away with not using any more healing steals. I'm going to wait until next round, and then I'm going to hamstring again. So Healing Trance has gone out. Oberon is going to guard on his next turn. And we're keeping this bad boy down. Shit. That hit to Varan is a big deal. So we've got a 52 damage hit on Oberon. Luckily we did just hamstring him. I'm gonna guard with Oberon. Okay, Smite comes out on Sordrell. It's a miss. We got a crit. Gonna go ahead and throw out another defense stance. Glad I guarded with him. Okay. I need to hamstring this guy. I guess I could have waited because... No, I really can't because I want to keep him hamstrung. And while, yes, Varan is faster than the boss is, he... Let's see. He could be... Excuse me, he could be paralyzed. And if he's paralyzed, then he can't do it. So Komonoton's topped out. Cast a defensive stance. No, I'm not. I'm gonna cast another cure. And Vron is done. So Oberon is almost dead. I just missed. Oh boy. I just need to do a full-on attack. Just no. So sad. I think we were probably reasonably close there. He shouldn't have had too much HP left based off of the duration that I think that went. But not quite. Okay, so we have defense stance for Oberon. We have defender for Kamanaton. And we have hamstring for the boss. Nice! So the boss missed on turn 1. That's really good for us. Kamanaton's still at full life. Use a nice double attack here. We're gonna go ahead and use a defense stance on Varan. So the hope here, there we go, we got the poison ring on try 1. And it attacked Kamanaton. So since it attacked Kamanaton, we don't have any damage that's gone out yet. Well, 2. 2 damage has gone out. Kamanaton hasn't had to use Healing Trance yet. And we can just go ahead and cure. You know what? No, we're going to do some extra damage now that we're in this position. And we need... What do we need Varan to do? He doesn't need to use a healing steel, so I'm just going to do a little bit of damage. It's not a lot, but it's something. Boss attacked Kamanaton again, so... So that's good. Ooh, nice. We got a crit there. And he missed Varan, so we're in really good shape on this attempt. Let me go ahead and recast. Actually, no, I'm gonna cast Defense Stance on Kamanaton. And we're gonna hamstring this boss, because... I'm glad that I did, because it didn't stun him, but it did use Smite on Varan, which could have easily stunned him. Oops, wrong button. I'm gonna go ahead and just guard with Varan. There we go. Since we're currently in a... No, we're not in a very good position yet. Okay, we need to cast Defensive Stance on Oberon. And I'm going to have Varan guard. Kamanaton just took... Well, took 1 point of damage. I feel like I do. I don't have anything better for him to do right now, so I think that it's best for him to do that. I'm going to guard with Varan. Again, Varan's damage is ridiculously low, so I don't need to worry about him too much. Okay, I'm gonna keep a cure out here. I'm gonna guard 1 more time, then I'm going to hamstring on the next attack. Monks are an odd class. What you're not seeing right now, because this thing's using only physical attacks, is that my monk has no magic defense, so he gets ripped apart. they don't have the ability to use gear. So right now I'm reasonably over-leveled for where I am. I should probably have him defend. I'm reasonably over-leveled for the location in the game that I am, even considering that it's on Legendary mode. I feel like I could probably have gotten here a little faster if my party was more optimized for this level. But it's not really optimized for this level, it's optimized for later in the game. Do I want to Healing Steel? Okay, so luckily that damage to Monitor doesn't do anything. But yeah, the problem that monks have is that they are very much glass cannons to an extent, and they don't really have the ability to exploit weaponry and armor to do cool shit. So they have some serious problems. They're not like the ultimate class by any means. At the end game, they'd get really, really strong, and you could probably kill a lot of bosses before the boss got a chance to do anything. But they are... I would not consider them to be like... Fuck. Got a crit. I would not consider them to be the be-all, end-all class by any stretch of the imagination. You'd lose out on a lot of capacity to do certain things, and you'd really be very reliant on being able to insta-give stuff. Because, for instance, with Kali, I don't think that my monk that's level 120-something can take a single hit. You can boost HP, but the problem with boosting HP is that boosting HP has diminishing returns. So each point in HP that you're putting in gives you the same amount of total hit points, but you're spending more and more points to get the same number of hit points. And by the end of the game, you're talking about enemies nuking you for 20 or 30,000 damage if you haven't invested in magic defense at all. You can't get that much HP, right? Because the key with the way that magic defense scales is that magic damage scales off of a different formula than physical damage, and it's a much more aggressive formula. So basically, in addition to getting like a flat amount of damage out of each additional point of int compared to magic defense, you're also getting an additional 1% of the base damage of the spell in question. So when the spell in question does a base damage of 3,000, it is going to be just obliterating you, right? Like, it's just going to wreck your shit. So yeah, so I have been hit for over 10,000 damage in this game by the one of the ultra bosses, and if you do have enough damage, right? So if you have 4 monks and you just go all-out damage on all 4 of them, by the end of the game, you might have enough damage. I don't think you'll get enough damage to kill them in 1 round. So, no. I mean, Sordrell will, yes, as he's currently built. But on my other character, he's got a huge amount of magic defense built in, and the key is that there's a few key items that are very important. So my characters have... I think I'm going to maybe try and go at this with full resources, because I'm getting wrecked by this boss now. I had just about as good an attempt as I could have had there, and the boss insta-gibbed Sordrell, which ruined everything. But let's see. So if you have sufficiently high defenses, then if you just reduce the enemy's stats by a little bit, it makes a huge difference. So, as an example, there is a dagger in the game that reduces enemy attack power by 25%. And there's an axe, and there's also a bow that decrease their intelligence by 25%. And those kind of percentage reductions in their stats are a really big deal, so long as you actually have a decent amount of defense. Because let's say, for instance, that you have 100 more. I mentioned that magic defense has a much more aggressive formula than physical defense, because physical defense is linear. Like, each point of defense that you have will reduce the damage that you take by 2. So each point is 2 damage reduced. With magic, it gets really weird because it has 2 separate components. It adds a base amount of damage, but then it also it has a percentage of the base damage of the spell that's affected. So as an example, with defense, you have to have, like, you have to have double the defense that the enemy has attack power to negate their damage completely. With magic, you need 100 more intelligence than they have, and you completely negate all damage that they do. If you have 100 more damage, it reduces the base damage of the spell by 100%, and so you're set. But with your different party members, you can do all sorts of cool stuff. So, like, for instance, the knight has an ability that doubles his physical defense and guarantees that enemies will hit him. Doubling your physical defense can easily drop enemy damage down to 0. That's something that a monk does not have the capacity to do. They do have a spell that they can use that doubles their own magic defense. So they have, like, stuff that they can do, but the synergies between the party members is actually very important. And holy shit, Oberon's getting wrecked. Why is he getting so wrecked? Well, let's find out if Oberon dies before Sordrell does for the first time ever. Yep. That's a miracle situation. But yeah, also, I could have much more damage on the other party members if I wasn't going so aggressively into defense. The reason that the monk is doing a lot of damage is not because he has a lot of base damage, it's because I built him really weirdly and gave him a huge amount. You can see I have 59 spent into attack power. I've invested a massive amount of attack power into him. I've put 0 for him. My knight has 6. I've basically put no points into attack power for anyone that isn't him. So that's why he has such high attack power. Later on, he will get good damage output, but right now, this damage output that he's got came at a very high price, and it's not, like, it's not demonstrative of a powerful character. I could have had a knight in that slot, and the knight in that slot, if I had done the exact same thing with his build, would actually be reasonably tanky, and not dying instantaneously to everything, because he'd be wearing armor. And would have the ability, for instance, to equip ice armor, which would mean that he'd absorb huge amounts every time an AoE comes out. And he'd be hitting harder than the monk is, because he'd actually have a weapon equipped. The monk hasn't reached the point that he gets his damage output basically brought up to par. It's again just the specific build that I have that is making him into a glass cannon this early in the game. And I say glass cannon, but he's still only hitting 300 damage. He's not hitting very hard. 300 damage is enough to one-shot most of the enemies here, but I'm level 16. Like, these are not enemies that I should be having any difficulty killing. The only reason that I am is because, again, it's on Legendary, so they hit so hard. I've been trying to get my defenses up. Oh, well, the upside of a monk is I'll show you the only reason that the monk exists. And basically, the monk exists as a class for exactly one skill. There's one skill that makes the entire class worthwhile, and it is the reason why I was saying that it's theoretically possible that you could kill the ultra bosses in one turn. And it's just that one skill. But I need to wait for the battle to end and then I'll show you. I believe very much in show don't tell. Okay, so we're currently sitting on 2300. What we're looking for is Fists of Fury. This is a passive that increases the number of attacks you have by your accuracy plus a random number between 1 and 25 divided by 50. I don't know whether it rounds up or down, but it doesn't really matter. So what this translates to is that every 50 accuracy you have, every 50 accuracy you have guarantees you 1 extra attack. Which means that as soon as you have 50 accuracy, you're guaranteed to do double damage on every single attack. As soon as you have 100 accuracy, you're doing triple damage on every attack. As soon as you have 150, you're doing quadruple damage. And it just keeps going. So my monk, my other monk, hits 8 times. So with a normal auto attack, he hits 8 times. That is an amount of damage that nobody else can touch. It's just an absolutely ludicrous quantity of pure, raw physical damage output that nobody can keep up with once the monk starts getting going. When I first get that skill, every time I get, once I get new weapons for my other party members, and if I have the ability to start investing into their offensive potential instead of their defensive potential, they can keep up, right? But they're going to very, very quickly start falling further and further behind in damage. And so eventually you get skills that allow the monk to go first in every combat. They automatically go first every single action. And so you have this character who every round is guaranteed, like in a random encounter like this, every round, whatever target I choose is automatically dead because the amount of single target damage is just too potent for a random encounter to handle. So I'll have the ability to insta-give one of the targets, which is very important in areas where you need specific targets dead. But then you also have the ability to do huge amounts of damage to bosses, so you can actually tear down the bosses much faster than you otherwise could, which for some bosses is going to be absolutely required. Like Kali with the double HP from Legendary, I can't imagine trying to fight Kali without a monk. She's just so... I don't know how you would survive for that long. It would just be such a long fight. So towards the end game, the monk gets very strong. The other thing that the monk has that's an advantage is... I'll actually go back to the leveling system to give you an idea how it works. So the way that the leveling system works is that in order to increase an attribute, you get these AP that you can then spend. So whenever you level, you can split your points in different stuff. This cost here increases every time you put points in something. So every time you put points in something, you've got... Sorry, I got distracted by music. Every time you put points in something, it gets more expensive. For every single stat, the increase in cost for a monk is lower than it is for any other class. It's like half of what a class that's good at a thing normally has. So when a knight reaches the limit of what they can do with attack power before the costs start getting exorbitantly expensive, the monk is still just chilling, chugging along, just continuing to put those points in. So when you're dealing with a very high-level character compared to the gear level, the monks start to get really, really, really powerful because A good example is that increasing the magic defense for my knight in my other playthrough is costing him like 20-some points per point of magic defense. And the same is true for my white mage for her physical defense, because she's bad at physical defense. Since the monk doesn't have anything that he's bad at, everything that he has costs less than 10. Every single stat that he has costs less than 10 points to invest in. So, as the monk gets higher and higher level, they just get crazier and crazier and crazier. As for sidestep and taunt doesn't actually have 100% success. And it's extremely expensive and lasts for only 3 turns. So, I could invest in getting huge amounts of MP for Oberon, but honestly, the rest of my party is similarly tanky to Oberon right now. Oberon doesn't have a huge leg up in terms of his defenses. So since he doesn't have a huge advantage defensively, it's kind of silly for him to be taunting when he could be making one party member completely invincible instead. So I don't have the ability to cast both right now because I haven't invested in his mana pool. And the reason I haven't invested in his mana pool is that even though he's a tank, he's actually so squishy right now that he's just getting smacked by the enemies. So one of the disadvantages of my current character setup is that I do not really have good defensive capacity yet. At later levels, I'm going to get the ability to have Komanaton cast Citadel, but he doesn't get the low-level versions of Citadel. He doesn't get the low-level defense-increasing spells. He gets this weird defense stance one that's not really as good. So he gets that, but he doesn't get the mid-tier defensive spells. So it's not until I get to the very late game where I get access to Citadel, which makes the entire party substantially tankier. And that's when we get to have a really good time. Because right now, the synergy in my party is a little weak. That's why I'm having trouble right now, is that on my previous party, the synergy at this level was better than it is on this party, because I had access to a hunter who has more like utility than the thief. So I had access to a hunter, which gave me more utility in that regard, better debuffs and things like that for the enemy. And I had access to a white mage, which gave me better buffs than I get from my gray mage right now. So those kinds of buff effects were substantially better on my previous playthrough. Right now, I'm kind of like in an in-between phase where I don't have the damage output from Sordrel yet, so he's not really doing what he's supposed to be doing. I obviously haven't stolen Kali's ring yet with Varan, because I'm nowhere near the point where I'm stealing Kali's ring with Varan. I haven't stolen any of the like really useful stuff yet. In fact, because nothing that I've been able to steal yet has been terribly useful. Let's see. And the Grey Mage doesn't have access to the high-level spells that will be very game-changing, because he has less diversity in the mid-tier. So anyway, so that's the basic current situation with my party. I'm figuring that the late game with this party is going to be easier than the late game with the previous party was. That would be my assumption, based off of the fact that, I don't know, I really was very unimpressed with that white mage. But that said, it might be that Bubble is good enough on its own to... Okay, I'm gonna actually just reload this, because that poison is gonna wreck my shit. I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should have just murdered them and then teleported back to the base. How much experience do I need? So I'm at 43%. But I do wish that I had built Sordrel a little bit more sensibly. And I think I would prefer to have a little bit less magic defense on Komanatin and Varan. Because I don't need all that magic defense on the characters that can just equip the... I don't need that much magic defense on Komanatin right now, at all. Because Komanatin, I should have built him as a pure physical powerhouse. Because the robe that he can equip, this magic ward robe, is just so ridiculously good. I'm wondering if I want to have the Thorned Armor instead. I feel like this is actually probably better for him, because 180 HP is 40 extra HP, and 7 defense is... It's a little iffy, but it's... The Protector Whip is what I want. Okay, do you need something that costs 4K, or are you having 2K? Yeah, he doesn't need anything that requires 4K, I don't think. Oh, he can get healthy living with 4K. Alright, sure. The classes in the game are Gray Mage, White Mage, here, I'll start out with the basic archetypes, because honestly the classes are pretty similar to the original Final Fantasy. You have the White Mage, which is a healing class that also has access to a bunch of defensive buffs, but not really much in the way of offensive buffs. Then you have the Fighter class that's like called a Knight or something. Yeah. Then you have the Knight, which is a very tanky class that has they can use shields, and they can do a couple of cool spells like Taunt, and then they have a better version of Taunt later that is really cool that you can't actually see. But they also have some interesting stuff like this thing, which doubles their max HP for the entire battle. And they have a few different buffs. So as an example, they have access to this Defender buff, which gives one ally a massive defense boost. Speaking of which, magic training costs 2,000. That's way too expensive. I'm not going to do that. Alright, I'm going to try this out. So then you have Knight. So Knight isn't quite like you'd expect, because it's more like a Paladin. It doesn't have access to healing, but it does have access to some really good buffs. Let's see. Then you have the Thief, which is the other class that I have here, which is able to do some bizarre stuff outside of combat, has the ability to debuff a little bit, but not a huge amount, and has the ability to equip heavier armor and daggers. And daggers are important because there's a really good dagger in the game. They can also use whips, and there's a really good whip in the game as well. Let's see. So, but yeah, the Thief's primary purpose, like if you're building a like min-maxing party, the reason that you want a Thief is because there are certain items in the game that there are limited quantities of, but which are extraordinarily powerful. So a good example is there's a ring that you get for beating one of the strongest creatures in the game. It's technically the second strongest creature in the game in terms of the way the developers intend it, but if we're being honest, it's much stronger than its counterpart. So just the way that the actual fight goes out, it's a stronger fight in my opinion. So if you fight that boss, then you get this item that gives you like 300 in all stats, plus regen, plus immunity to like every status effect, plus like blah 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 blah, plus 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 plus. It's absolutely godlike. With a thief, you can get 2 of them because you can steal one from the boss. So in addition to having the one that you would normally have, you also get one that you've stolen. In addition, all of the main storyline bosses have the ability to steal stuff, and they are very helpful for your economy because normally you don't get, you don't usually get money for just killing things. Everything drops, like, not everything, but most things drop loot that you can then sell. But things don't normally drop money. Except maybe like humans. Humans might actually drop money, but I don't remember. Let's see. So anyway, so thieves have an ability called Greed that makes it so that you actually do get money off of every fight that you're in, and that is incredibly useful for the sort of early game. So in the late game, you have access to some gear that you otherwise wouldn't have. In the early to mid game, you have access to money, and then in the mid game, you have access to a bunch of extra items that are pretty powerful that you wouldn't normally have, but you have because you have the right class. And yep, the RNG does not favor me right now. Let's see. So then there's Monk, which is basically like a bizarre class that does not scale at all with gear because it can't equip half the slots, but is has a very potent ability. It has a singular, very powerful ability, and it has access to very effective scaling for every single stat. So every stat it can increase very high and not worry about running into any sort of soft cap scenario where you just are spending huge amounts of points getting basically nothing in return. So anyway, then you have black mages, which are nukers predominantly. They have access to some buffs as well. They also have access to warp, which allows you to warp out of dungeons. And you have access, and you have white mages, which are exactly what you'd expect them to be. And who else is there? You have engineers, which are like consumables users. So they throw bombs at enemies, and they heal using potions and other items. I think they have like double effectiveness with items. And those engineers are a very powerful class, but they're a class that I've never really used because they're all consumables. So I don't use consumables, so I wouldn't use that class. Who else? There's the Grey Mage, which is sort of like a bizarre mixture of every class in the game. If you look at their ability set, every ability that they have comes from someone else, except for, I think they have like vampirism or something like that allows them to steal life from enemies that I don't think anyone else has. I think it's just them. So they have, I guess technically, their own shit, but most of their stuff is a hodgepodge of abilities that come from either the melee classes or the spellcaster classes. Let's see. Oh yeah, Estus flasks I don't tend to count Estus flasks as consumables because I'm not good enough at that game to go through without using anything at all. And so I allow. Oh wait, I should probably have stolen, huh? I didn't steal its ring yet. So anyway, so Estus flasks I don't count because they automatically regenerate when you get to a thingamabobber when you rest. So they're more of a they function more similar to like a spells per day situation than a true consumable situation. Let's see, what else? What are the other classes? I know there's other classes. The 3 mage classes. Oh, and Hunter. So Hunter is a class that allows you to use bows. I think they're the only class that can use bows. And they have a lot of debuffs and buffs that they can cast. So since they can use a bunch of debuffs and buffs, usually they're buffs or debuffs to like the entire enemy party. So they're buffs to you or buffs to your entire party or debuffs to the entire enemy party. They're actually very powerful, and they can stack those buffs and debuffs together for cool effects as well. Unfortunately, I am in deep shit when it comes to this damn thing. I'm failing to... Okay, so... I haven't stolen the poison ring, and I really need that. That's something that I can't go without. The poison ring makes you immune to poison, and poison is one of the nastiest status effects for someone like me who doesn't use consumables. And aside from Hunter, is there anyone else that I'm forgetting? Let me think. I don't think so. I think that's all the classes. But each of the classes has access to certain things that nobody else does. So the Thief has access to stealing, which no other class has. The Monk has access to, oh my god, what the fuck, barbecue DPS, that nobody else has, that nobody else can come close to. The Knight has access to taunts, which nobody else has access to. The White Mage has access to the bubble line of spells, which, again, nobody else has access to. And, let's see... Actually, does the Grey... I guess technically the Grey Mage has access to, that vampirism thing. But the big thing that I think is important that the Grey Mage has access to is the Grey Mage has access to, both basically the Grey Mage has access to almost every piece of armor in the entire game. There's practically nothing that they cannot utilize, and that is, in my opinion, really awesome, because while it might not seem like that big a deal because you can only equip one piece of gear at a time, like in a given slot, it's very powerful to be able to do weird shit. There's an item that makes you absorb fire damage, and there's an item that makes you absorb ice damage. And one of them is a piece of mail armor for the chest slot, and one of them is a cloth hat. And I have both of those items right now. So if I wanted to, and I was in a situation where I needed it, Komanaton could actually make himself immune simultaneously to ice and fire. And no one else in my party could do that because they wouldn't be able to equip both at the same time. So you could potentially do some interesting things with that kind of stuff. With the Grey Mage. So let's see, what are the other uniques? The Hunter allows you to identify enemies and put them in your... to basically, like, record the stats of all the enemies, which is moderately useful, I suppose. But the more important aspect of the Hunter that's unique is they're the only ones that can use chocobos. They're called moas here, but they're basically chocobos. They're big birds that you ride around. They reduce the amount of time random encounters you have and make you move faster on the world map. Engineer allows you to tunnel, and that tunneling is allows you to shave time off the world map. Let's see. I don't know what the Black Mage does. I'm sure the Black Mage has some, like, combat unique thing that they can do, but I actually do not know what it is. Because I don't consider access to a specific spell to be terribly unique unless that spell itself is unique in its function. Because if it just does AoE fire damage, for instance, that's not unique. Other people can also do AoE fire damage. Let's see. Anyway, so the different parties are... I'm missing my hunter, I will be honest. If I had a hunter instead of this thief, I'd have a much easier time right now. But if I had a hunter instead of my thief, then I wouldn't be able to steal another collie ring, which is unacceptable. The synergy plan with my party for the end game, I'm actually not sure yet, because I haven't seen how Komanatin's defenses are going to scale yet. I don't know how quickly he's going to be running into excessively expensive costs. No, it would be Hunter instead of Thief. Hunter instead of the Knight is something that would be, I think, an unrealistic risk. Because while the Knight currently isn't as tanky as you'd expect, it's going to be very quick for the Knight to be able to really just get maximum tankability. And for me to just taunt things, dump some defensive spells on the tank, and then he's just sitting there taking no damage and preventing the entire party from taking damage. So the Knight's utility, I think, is something... I considered putting a Hunter in instead, I honestly did. But I decided that I'd rather have the Knight than a Hunter, because of a variety of reasons. Most of the Hunter's buffs are actually offensive in nature anyway, so it's not really... it wouldn't help me too much in terms of my current situation, which is just that this thing hits like a goddamn truck. My Grey Mage isn't currently very good at throwing buffs, but in the end game, the Grey Mage is going to be casting Citadel and other spells that are going to make my entire party much, much tankier. So in the end game, he's going to be casting a lot of buffs. The other thing that I'm looking at is I'm actually very curious whether I can build the Grey Mage to be tankier than the Knight. I probably can't get him tankier than the Knight, but I might be able to get him on par. Because he doesn't have to really spend any points in any stats at all. He's very... okay, that was weird. So we got the Widowmaker pack. I hate this pack. Okay, that's actually a substantial problem. So the person who would cure the poison and the person who would teleport us out of the dungeon are both the same person, and that person is paralyzed. So if the battle ends before the paralysis goes up, never mind. We're fine. Okay. Okay, we're going to go ahead and purify... You know what, fuck it, no we're not. We're gonna attack. I'm not really that concerned about the poison. I'm more concerned about the paralysis. Because if Komanachin gets paralyzed again, that's a bad thing for me, so I'm just trying to finish these things off as fast as possible. There we go. So... Black Mage instead of Knight. Black Mage is not really the type of character that I really enjoy. I mean, first of all, that would make it so that I would have to rely on a Grey Mage to be the primary damage sponge, which may work and may not. I'm testing it out with this setup here. I don't know whether I can do that, but also the problem that a black mage has is that I'm going to show you the stat allocation that I have for my characters right now. So one of the things that you have to understand is that I'm not allowing any character to die at any point, right? Anytime someone dies, I have to reload. I can't accept any deaths. So this character has put 43 points into HP, and he just got one shot by this boss. So of the points that he's put into his like stats, something like a third of them have gone into pure hit points, and he's still getting one shot. If you look at the other characters, every single point that they've spent is in either defense, magic defense, or HP. Komanatin is a special case because he has so many extra points that I just said, you know what, I'll just spend a few points in MP just to make my life a little easier. Which is why he's getting one shot by the boss now. But he spent 89 points in defense, and he's still getting one shot by the boss. This guy spent 91 points in defense, which is, let's see, 90... something like 3/4 of his points have gone into defense, and he's getting two shot by the boss. And this guy has spent like every single point into defense and magic defense, except a few points that I put into agility to make it so that he has an easier time stealing. And he's in the back row because he's don't even ask about him. He's definitely getting one shot or two shot by the boss. If I had a black mage in the party, that black mage would be getting one shot by this boss, even if I had invested every single point into defense for that character. There's no way that a black mage can survive on legendary difficulty, and the DPS value of a black mage is pretty good if you heavily invest in their damage stats, and you're dealing with an AoE situation where things have low hit points, but have that HP spread between multiple targets. But a black mage can't do a lot of damage against a boss. As soon as Sordrell gets, I'd say probably to level 30 or so, any damage that's coming into a boss that isn't coming from Sordrell is completely irrelevant, because the amount of damage that they're doing as a party is going to be so much lower than the amount of damage that that one party member is doing completely on their own. So the issue with the black mage is that you have to question where the utility is coming out. The boss fights are the really hard thing for me, not the random encounters. And those boss fights, like, these enemies have huge, HP pools when you factor in all of them. It's like, you've got, with a group of 6, you've got maybe a couple thousand HP. But that boss probably has 10,000 HP. I don't know how much it has, but it has several thousand HP at the very least. And it's some trouble. The black mages have, I think they have some status effect magic, and they might have some debuffs, but they don't have anything that would separate them from, like, as an example, like, you were talking about getting rid of the knight. They don't have the ability to drop enemy intelligence by 25% while also doing your normal business, right? Like, on a turn, if you attack with that axe, you automatically drop the int of that target by 25%. So that kind of utility is just not there. So it's like, yes, they could debuff, but they're not debuffing while simultaneously negating all damage coming in by the boss for 3 turns guaranteed, and being able to negate damage generally, being able to cast massive defense buffs on the party, things like that, which is something that the knight brings to the table. Black mages are fine, but they're not they're definitely not an Arkmode class. They're the kind of class that you use when you want to play the game like a normal human being. And, you know, you could bring one to Legendary even, right? But the other things that I'm doing in this difficulty are... Because I've already beaten this boss. I already killed it once and had the ring stolen. But because I'm not allowing any of my characters to die, that's the problem, is that I have to reload because one of the characters died in that successful attempt. So it adds additional complications. So like, if you don't mind having to resurrect your black mage periodically because somebody looked at him funny and he fell over dead, then sure, the black mage will work fine. Yeah, the goal is basically just to keep all my party members alive. That fundamentally is what I'm going for here, is have the ability to keep my characters alive and then have one character who can do damage. Alright, later, Paul. Alright, we've got... I decided that it's silly of me to spend so much time fighting this boss when I could just be fighting random encounters and get one more level and get up to 4k to double my damage output with my monk. Because if I have double the damage output with the monk, then that, I think, will make this boss relatively simple. The rest of the party isn't doing as much damage as the monk is on every turn, so... just pimping out the ability of the monk to do some extra damage should go a long way. I don't think I'm gonna kill this thing, so I'm gonna use a healing seal instead. That gives me a little bit of extra HP to play with on Sorgrel. And it's not quite enough. It is not enough. Interestingly enough, if I had attacked it and killed it, then Sorgrel would have survived that. Because that was the target that did the final hit, and he did technically have enough HP that he'd survive with like a couple HP if he had gotten attacked again. Or if he had gotten attacked by the other attacks that went through to him, rather. So let's see. Because he had 39 HP left and he got healed for 33. Now, how could he have gotten... He couldn't have gotten healed for 33. That's mathematically not possible. Because the spell does double your level. So it must have been like 32 or 34. I guess 32. I think I'm 16. So anyway, we're going to be trying to get this in good order. And unfortunately, we do have to grind out another level. But once we've got this level done, we'll be dramatically stronger. So I'm gonna just dump points into defense for everyone who is not Sorgrel. As for Sorgrel, this is going to be a damage level. So I'm gonna pump up I'm gonna have to look at his stats. And I'll do the math while I'm running around. So he's got 4 accuracy. Then again, accuracy costs half as much to spend points on as well. So 1 point of accuracy is 2% of an extra attack. So we'll put it accuracy is 2%. And put it attack. He's dealing about 300 damage right now. So if he's dealing 300 damage with his attacks, then 1 extra attack power, which translates to 4, is a little over 1%. So at the high end for his damage, which is about 300, that's about the high end of what he can technically do, he's better off with accuracy. Oops. But at the low end, he's better off with attack power. Attack power does better damage when the enemies have high defense. Because the low end, he does about 200 damage. So I'd say that I'm much better off going on, getting my accuracy probably up by 2 points. And it turns out that, now that I think about it, I'm thinking about this wrong because it's not quite... It doesn't work quite the way that I'm pretending that it does. It's not like a flat 2%. It's a weird thing where it has very specific caps. So putting 2 more points in takes me from, like, let's see, a 2 in 25 chance of not getting a crit to, or not a crit, an extra attack, to always guaranteeing an extra attack. So I think 2 points in accuracy is definitely worth it. But any additional points that I put in accuracy don't do anything until my accuracy passes 75. So there's not really any reason to continue investing until I'm able to invest to get it to there. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be able to do that in one level. So I think what I'm going to want to do is wait until I'm getting levels regularly again. And once I'm getting levels regularly again, then I can... Because I'm getting very, very weak experience here. I'm really over-leveled. I don't have a... I don't really have an appropriate build for handling this boss, I don't think. I think that having things like... I could have the cover hat right now. I didn't realize this boss was going to be this hard. I didn't think this boss was this rough. But if I had the cover hat on Komanitin, he wouldn't be getting one shot. And there's a lot of other stuff that I could have that would be making my life a lot easier. So... So 37.24. So it'll only take a few more fights to get Sordrell where he needs to be. I think that I probably would have been better off going for this before I went with the regen. I kind of went for the regen build fast, thinking that, oh, you know, I can get skill points reasonably quickly. I completely underestimated how long it was going to take me to get all these skill points. If I had invested very heavily into just beelining straight for the multi-attack, I'd have gotten access to it much earlier. And if I had access to that, I'm pretty sure I would have killed the Treant by now. Because one of the big issues that I have right now is that my damage is just too low. I don't really hit the enemies very hard at all. And, you know, I'm doing obviously more damage than my other characters were, but not by a lot. Also, I have the wrong equipment right now. Now I think about it, these people should have the other stuff. No wonder everything's taking so long. Everybody's wearing their defensive gear instead of their offensive gear. So, pop over here. Alright, so let's equip. This thorned armor is a pretty big damage increase. Alright, so naturally they go and punch Swordrell in the face. It is kind of sad when you think about how much I've invested into my attack power for Swordrell and how little damage he's actually doing right now. Yikes. Well. Oh, is he in the front row? I'm an idiot. I have this set up with boss set up in mind. I'm an idiot. Okay, well. But yeah, I could have better setup for my characters right now than I do, and I'm actually upset with myself for locking myself over here. As soon as I saw these enemies, I thought, I can handle this boss. This isn't going to be a problem. But I underestimated how hard this boss was going to be. Okay, so we have like 2 more fights to go. I'm gonna actually talk to you. Because I realized that I'm leaving money on the table by leaving my stuff capped out there, and I was pretty sure that I had capped it out by now. Okay. I'm actually going to use a double attack because I can. Attacking 2 enemies at random, and then hitting the same one twice, even though there's like 1,000 of them on the field. So I think that this fight will allow me to activate monk mode, finally. But I was anticipating the regen being more valuable than it actually was, just because I can't really increase his gear level at all, so The regen would be really valuable if he was taking marginal damage, if any damage, from the AoEs, but since he was taking so much damage from the AoEs, it was largely useless. Okay, so Fist of Fury is learned. So that makes me happy. Also, Oberon has the ability to pick up Magic Training. That gives me plus 30 max NP, which means that I can cast way more spells with him. What this will translate into is being able to cast the defensive thing more often. So I'm not going to be using Taunt yet because he doesn't really have the... He doesn't have the defensive capacity yet to really want... for me to really want him to be taking all the hits. Because I'd rather for Commonoton to take some of those hits. And for Sordrel, for that matter, because Sordrel mostly dodges. Mostly. Alright, so. I'm gonna save before I do this. Okay, so what we're gonna do now, we don't need to learn skills, that's exactly what I don't need. So, we're going to put 2 points into HB, which we're going to do every level because it's valuable for him. We're going to put 2 points into accuracy because that puts his accuracy to 25. With 25 accuracy... What am I thinking? No, I need his accuracy to be all the way up to 50. So, shit. I guess we're just dumping points into accuracy for now. I'm an idiot. For some reason I thought I needed 25 for the first thing, but no, I need 50. So it's all accuracy for now. So he's getting a point of HP, and then everything else is going into physical defense. For him, everything's just going into physical defense, not even going into... Fine. And defense. So this will help to survive against the boss. And so now our DPS against the boss should be increased significantly. Not necessarily as much as I'd like it to be. But because I'm a total dope who just completely forgot that 25 is the cutoff point for when I can technically get another attack, not the cutoff point for a guaranteed extra attack. So, next level, he should have enough... He should have enough accuracy to almost always get an extra attack. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, even with this not being as good as I was picturing, because I am an idiot who forgot about his accuracy needs, this is still going to have a huge impact on the overall DPS against this boss. In addition, I also have access to casting, what, like 4, I think? I think I can cast 4 of my thingamabobbers, so we're going to go ahead and sidestep. We're going to use defensive stance. And I have the wrong equipment on, so if I survive this, it'll be a miracle. So I'm gonna go ahead and use double attack, because I can. I'm gonna cast... I'm not gonna cast Smite, that's pretty much sure. I'm gonna guess Healing Steel. Okay, so he's not hitting Commonoton for basically anything, so... And that's over, so we can go ahead and use a Healing Trance. And... I'm gonna go ahead and cast Defender on Oberon. And I'm very happy that he just seems to be content to pick on Commonoton. He can't one-shot Commonoton, I don't think. I guess he could with a crit. But... okay, I have one more Defender cast in me. I'm gonna save that for when the current one expires. There we go. There's that double attack. Damn it. I feel like I have a decent chance on this attempt. But I feel like I'm gonna actually fail to steal the item. Oh, and then he beats up Ron. Okay, so let's actually set our party up for a boss fight, shall we? So, okay, first things first, we're going to set up the rows. So we just don't want Veron getting hit at all. If we can avoid it. Do we want to save up for behind enemy lines, or do we want... Okay, I'm not going to get anything right now, but I need to remember that I have magic training available right now. As for him... he can get healthy living soon, so I'm going to get that. Okay, so... we're going to be equipping the magic wardrobe. That's a pretty good amount of extra defense coming in. Anything else that I can do? So we're going to equip the cold armor on him. So that puts him at 174. So he's got a significant defense lead over Commonoton right now. And defense stance is going here. And Commonoton survived the smite. And I think that Commonoton is going to have plenty of mana for this. I don't think that him running out of mana is what I'm worried about. Nice. God damn it. God damn it. Double smite. That is so sad. So sad. It only did 2 more damage than he had HP. 2. And because it was double smite. If he had just used like a normal attack, then he would have been fine. Okay, we got a sidestep going out. Sordrell should be fine now. I sure hope he is anyway. There we go, that's what I like to see. No! And now it's going to be really stressful for the rest of the fight, because he's going to be one-shottable this whole time. Poison ring, good. Okay. Fuck! That's so sad. Oh, the timing on that. Oh, the timing on that is so bad. Damn it. Oh. My life is pain. Okay, well, that's fine. Okay, so, defense stance, defender, and... Oh good, we got an evade. So, the first turn is the most dangerous turn where he's... If he hits Sordrell, he's probably going to actually land it. And if he attacks anyone else, he's probably going to land it, and he's going to do so much damage that it's going to be extremely painful. So, surviving that first turn with no problems is really, really good. There we go, we got this poison ring. Good, so we now have the ability to keep our hamstring up for the rest of the fight, almost guaranteed. Okay, so we're on the last turn of that. We'll go ahead and hamstring him in advance. Oh, wow. Ooh, don't like that. Cast defense stance and defender again. I'm gonna actually cast healing steel. Just top up the party. Please don't kill Sordrell. Oh. You know what? Maybe I should actually. I think I should. I think I'm gonna cast defender on Sordrell. I think that that'll survive. Keep him alive. So God! Ugh. See agility. It does nothing. Life is sad. Okay, so let's try this one more time. Ouch. That was so sad. Okay, so we're gonna cast Defender there. We're going to. Nice hit. Poison ring stolen. Perfect. So we've taken some damage on the whole party now, which is the optimal time to do a healing steal. I'm definitely hitting him pretty hard, so gotta make sure that I keep a head on hamstrings. Shit! He is stunned. That's a problem. Gonna go ahead and use a healing steal. Now, this is a bit of an iffy thing to do because of the fact that the monk being stunned means that my damage output just got trashed, which means that my ability to keep my debuffs on the target is trashed. I'm gonna use Healing Trance on him. I'm gonna have him cast Defender on himself, because he's too low. So Healing Trance is active on Komonoton, so as long as he doesn't get actually one-shot, he'll be in good shape. We're gonna cast Cure. So he did a 1 damage stun there. Oh god. The healer is stunned. But the healer is at full life, so that's good at least. Trant needs to be hit. Shit. Okay. This is very, very dangerous. I cannot hamstring him again. I'm taunting. He only has Defender for 2 more turns. I don't think it's a good idea to taunt. I think I'm better off casting Defender on him. And he just needs to guard, because he can get 1 shot, I think. Okay, so Defender's up on Komonoton, and Komonoton is healing. I actually haven't used my double attack yet, so let's do that. Now I'm going to use Cure on Oberon and have Oberon guard and have him guard. No! He was so close. So close. I'm actually gonna find out how close I was. If Ron had killed him there, I would have left. I actually might not be able to find out how close I am because I'm doing so little damage. I don't think I was one turn away. And I'm just gonna close this. So at least I wasn't just like one turn away from killing him. If it would have been really sad if that double attack had killed him, or that double attack would have killed him rather, and I didn't get a chance to because I didn't get the attack off. Okay, so defense stance going out here. Defender on Komoto. So I need to be more careful with Veron's mana. That was a good hit. Okay. And that was a miss. So... let's get another steal out. That's not how it's done. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think there's any way to substantially improve my odds here. Not a bad hit. Fuck. I have a suspicion that I have to... Because he's not dodging nearly as much as I would like. I think that the 500 agility thing is not sufficient to handle this. So I'm going to put him not in the rear row, because that's, I think, overkill, but I'm putting him in the middle row to lower the odds of him getting hit. Because what's happening is that it's okay for him to get hit a couple of times overall during the fight, or to get him attacked a couple of times during the fight. but I can't have him getting attacked continuously because he's eventually going to fail to dodge twice. There we go. So we got the poison ring. He's still plowing into Oberon. I have enough. Mana on him that I think it's a good idea to do that. Do I want to? I don't think I want to attack with him. I think that it's too risky to bother attacking with him. Okay, so Oberon is now in good shape. He's basically unhurtable. Komanaton is unhurtable. So we've got Sordrell sitting at a very good amount of HP. Varan is sitting at a good amount of HP. We have 3 turns left on this. I'm going to go ahead and heal Varan. And Oberon gets stunned. 500 damage out. Okay. Nice little miss. A double punch in return. I only have 1 turn left on this, so we're going to go ahead and recast it. No, we're not. We're going to wait. Oh, we should recast it, actually. I'm glad that I noticed that hamstring had worn off. Out of those. Damn. So we missed on one of them, but we did hit on the other, so it's fine. Like, the miss followed up by a hit is fine. So there's another 600 damage going out. I'm going to cast Defensive Stance on him. Just keep them guarding. How much HP do you have? I thought that I had killed this at one point. That like one of these attempts had been successful, but that's obviously not the case. I clearly did not successfully whittle through this much HP at any point, because the amount of damage that I've done with this attempt is ludicrously high. I keep getting double attacks on Sordrell. Just got another double attack, and it's still not over. Okay, he missed. I don't have that many attempts. Or that. Oh my god. I'm like, I don't have that many turns left in me. But we got him. He's down. It's all done. Mission successful. So we got the poison thing. We got the Kali's medallion, and we now need to walk out of here. But I'm honestly pretty good in terms of HP, so I should be fine. Like, in terms of resources, I should be okay. I do still have Swordrell in the front row, and he's not supposed to be. But that's okay. Done. Let's swap up the party. Do I want to... No, I think I'm going to keep the setup the way that it is right now, but I'm going to put him in the back, put him in the front. Okay, so I've also got to equip this ring. I don't want to equip it on him. I'm going to equip it on him for now. So... Kamanaton can't be poisoned. Not that anybody can be poisoned now, because I'm not... In the last area of this place, you have the spiders, but not in the rest of this place. This is interesting. I've got a weird scab that's formed over a insect bite, which is a very strange setup that it's got here. I got, I don't know, pooped on by a fire ant. The weird thing is that we have, like, general, like, wording for how we talk about getting attacked by insects. And, well, for most things, we have good terminology for how to describe what the hell attacked you and how. We don't really for ants, because ants are such a weird thing. They don't sting you, right? Because, like, a bee stings you. They inject a sharp object into you, and they pump something into your bloodstream, right? That's how they work. And they don't bite you, though they sometimes do. But if they bite you, they're just biting you to hold on so that they can do something else. But the actual function that they do is they basically just leak acid out of their butts, which is such a strange... Like, it's not... It's the closest thing it is to is a sting, but it's not really. Like, I mean, it's a weird thing to call it, right? Like, if acid drips out of someone's butt, do you call it a sting when they hit you with their butt? No, that's weird. Unless their butt is sharp, and then it's yes, because their butt is sharp, and then... Anyway. Random aside about this. So anyway, it's interesting because this happened a few days ago. And the mark is really strange because it looks like it's a scab, like a scar tissue or something. It's like, I don't know. It's very bizarre because it's not behaving the way that I would have expected a bug bite to behave. But I'm pretty sure it's just a ant butt attack. Good, so he's ready to leave now. And that means that we're ready to head back. So, we should have some decently increased DPS now, but the other thing that we have is that we've now completed an optional side quest. We had two different ways that we could get access to a boat, and this was one of the ways that we could have gotten access to the boat. So, we now have access to the boat, but we're not going to take it immediately. We instead completed this, which also would have given it to us. So where's the Royal Treasurer? The Royal Treasurer over here. You shall not pass. This is definitely not the royal treasurer. Are you the royal treasurer? I doubt it. Okay, we just need to find the royal treasurer, and then we can equip this mithril gear. Mithril sword, mithril knife, mithril axe. Oh my god. Oh my god. It just keeps coming. Oh shit. I did not realize... What? Rings as well? Oh my god. That was so much more than I was anticipating it was going to be. That was so good. Okay, so let's... Wow. Let's go to the inn. Because, holy shit, that... I think that we are set now. So we've got... I think we'll be able to easily clear out the rest of the missions and things around here. That was... Whoa. So, I can make a silver sword out of... I think a silver sword requires steel, and I don't have steel. This thing here is a long sword, right? Okay, just making sure, because I already have one. So, I can't get a silver sword yet, which means that I won't be able... The reason that I'm not equipping this stuff yet... Actually, I should equip some of it. Hahaha, magic defense. We're doing the magic defense. Okay. So, plus 10 magic defense on him is a big deal. That's going to zero out the damage these guys do, and give him a decent amount of durability against even this. There we go. 31 damage is not a huge amount. But yeah, I was thinking this was going to be good for me, but I did not expect it to be quite this good. That's a huge amount of stuff that I got out of that. I also have access to that crystal armor over there if I want. And, I have enough... I don't know if I have enough money, but I have enough money that I can definitely consider picking it up. I don't know if I'd want the sword. I think I probably would want the actual armor. So, let's resist blind, and that's fine. But I think I want one of these. I also did not pick up the thing that I should have picked up. Excuse me. So we can make more heavy boots if we want, but we don't really need that. So, I think we don't have any materials. Oh, we didn't get a cloak for it. That's unfortunate. So we can get the mithril gauntlets equipped, which is not bad. Plus 4 accuracy is certainly not bad. Go ahead and equip the mithril boots. Do I want the mithril boots on him? I mean, his defense is going to be terrible either way. And I'm going to definitely want to equip the Might Ring for boss fights. So let's see here. We got a Mithril Shield, which is pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and equip the full. That's probably worth it. So these heavy boots are actually better than the mithril boots. So that changes things. So we can go ahead and equip the mithril boots. Okay. So for him, if we want to equip a mithril sword, that's +5 attack power and -5 defense. The mithril spear is actually weaker than what he's got equipped. If I wanted, I could give him a mithril axe. Might be fun. I don't think I want to, though. Okay, so I think I'm going to stick with this setup for now. So mithril armor is only 2 better than the cold armor. So how much do you have? 174. 173. Okay, so I'm giving Komanatin this, and I'm going to go ahead and give the mithril armor to him. We're setting up for fighting the, what's that guy called? The Goblin King guy. And I think we're definitely ready. I mean, I don't see how... I don't see how I could need more than what I've got right now for dealing with this guy. So, we're going to finish this guy off. We're hopefully going to have enough attack power to go after the next guy as well. But we'll see about that. Okay, Goblin King. Time to sidestep. Okay, Confusion Attack missed, Hamstring missed. So we don't know how hard we're gonna hit, or how hard we're gonna get hit. But we do know that most of my party is in okay shape. Okay, let's get that hamstring out. There we go. This boss I don't think has that much HP, so I'm comfortable using guard on both those characters at the same time. Or defender, not guard. Okay. So nice that Varun doesn't have to steal from him. Okay, Kamadaten is confused. Which is fine. He's not a critically important character at the moment. Nice. There we go. So yeah, that boss does not have anywhere near as much HP. He's honestly just less dangerous overall. The other thing is way tougher than that guy is. So I really wish that I had thought to attack him. That guy has way less HP. I don't know about his damage. I think his damage is also not any, like, I don't think his damage is any more dangerous than that Treant. So now that we've got all this extra defense as well, we have the chance to go into that other area, the forest again, and take a look. But before we do that, we need to finish up with these. Now, so we got a might ring and a focus ring. I think the focus ring increases my, I think I remember, my accuracy. And I think 10 points of accuracy is a good thing to get, because that puts me up to exactly 50. So we're going to continue pumping our accuracy. Until I get the ability to unequip this, basically. I want to put 10 points into my accuracy, then I can unequip this, equip the might ring instead, and then continue on from there. Do I have anything? Yes, let's take a look at these agile helms. This increases accuracy and agility by 10. This is really good. Yeah, make a perpetual road as well. So we definitely want to make a full set of agile helms. I need more spider carapaces. Let's see, this is 11. Is it gonna be more than the mithril helm? Probably not, right? Oh, actually, I don't need it for him, because I need the cover hat thing. Where's my hat? This cover hat is just so good. I need to buy a rune hat. And I still don't have enough bear pelts. So, Kamadaten has gotten up to 4K again, so we can pop not magical view, we want healthy living, plus 50 HP. So he has 200 max HP right now. Not too bad. Not too bad for someone wearing a robe, anyway. His HP at all. Alright, so we're going to pop down here. We're going to try and track down the person that... Where's the person that buys crap? There he is. 27,000. I can definitely get the mithril, or not the mithril, the crystal armor thing. I think that I should do it. It just seems sensible to me. Like, it's expensive as hell, but I don't really... have that much need for money right now. Like, I'm sure that I have much more in the way of consumables that I can sell off. So yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna check which I want. I don't think I want the sword, honestly. I don't think that it's worth it. The sword gives presumably a decent increase to my damage output, but that would be a decent increase to the damage output of a character who is going to start falling behind in damage really fast anyway. I now have a guaranteed 2 hits coming out on Sordrell, so he's going to be outscaling everybody, basically. There's no catching up to Sordrell at this point. He's high enough level. We're over-leveled for this area, and we are on our way. We are on our way out of there. So let's go talk to the crystal armor seller person. Excuse me. Now, I think that the way that people would typically get this equipment is by fishing. I think they would typically fish for it. Because fishing seems to be the, like, go-to, like, money-making thing. This is plus 22 attack power. This is plus 21 defense. This is insanity. Okay, yeah, this is so good. So we're gonna go ahead and get it, because why not? We can afford it. So much random stuff to sell. Okay, so we're gonna buy the crystal armor. We'll still have 13 grand left. And we can go ahead and just shove that on somebody. I guess we can shove it on him. But one cool thing is we have 3 separate characters who have the ability to equip that. So, depending on what our needs are, we can just swap it around the party. And Sordrell should be accurate enough to easily hit things. I'm gonna head over and go into this forest. Because wandering around the whole area is substantially less fun than slaughtering my way through this forest. I also need to get to that other town because I need to check if I can buy... What was it? Rune robes? No, it's a hat. It's a rune hat or something like that. And I think I need to go up this way. So, Sordrell is now in, like, full damage-dealing form. And we'll be ready to consider... I'm wondering how long it's going to be before I want to... I'm going to invest in 10 more accuracy now. I think that I'm going to start focusing on accuracy again only after I've gotten some better gear for him that gives him some accuracy boosts. So once he has better gauntlets and has access to maybe like dual rings or something like that for accuracy, I can basically pump him up to the next tier very quickly. And that's what I'm going to do for him. I have to work within these, you know, specific criteria, and we'll just see how it goes. Now, I'm saving up for the +7 accuracy that I'm going to be getting at 2k skill points, because that will help me a decent amount. But actually, do I guess we'll see what happens first. If I level up first, then I'll have to make a decision. This is so funny. At some point, I do need to invest in some damage for these characters. I don't actually need to invest in damage for Komanojin, though. Because in terms of boss damage, he's never going to have meaningful boss damage. And if he's never going to have meaningful boss damage, then at the end of the day, I can always just equip a Genji weapon on him to clear random encounters. He doesn't need anything. He doesn't need any attack power. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to increase his attack power at all. I'm just going to increase his durability and nothing else. Just see how durable we can make him. Alright, so we're now getting into this area. This area is going to be really dangerous. Things are going to hit hard. Going to make me sad. It's a lot of money. Okay, so we'll see how hard these actually do hit. Oh god, Swordrell's asleep. Well, that's a problem. So Reinforce Armor went out, and Reinforce Armor went out. Good. $262 on Swordrell is not actually that bad. I'm curious to see how hard they hit. Okay, he's clearly in the front row. 32 damage. That 32 damage was actually with the attack power buff. Unfortunately, the character that I need to be, like, killing with has been asleep, like, the entire fight. Okay, so now everyone else is asleep. Damn it. These guys are really... what's the word? They're really evasive. I've got 50 accuracy on him, and they're just dodging left and right. Alright, so that chest is 5,000 bucks. Okay, so goal here is to wipe out the Skeleton Knights. They're hitting for 1 damage. Huh. Getting access to that mithril gear has definitely upset the balance of this place. Critical hit for 18. So, I mean, the knight would be able to hit reasonably hard, but not the rest of them. mean, the invisible knight, rather. Yeah, it's hitting for about 50. The funny thing is that there's really not that much, like, extra defense that Sordrell even can get out of the mithril gear that I picked up. Because they didn't even give a cloak. It's like they give practically everything, but that is the one thing that they didn't give. So, he's just kind of SOL. So that's only 400 experience. That's not that amazing. Let's take a look at our rows. He is in the back row where he belongs. He's just still having trubs. So tempting to try this. I know that it's just gonna blow me apart. But I'm going to talk to it anyway. Fire 3. That's a lot of damage. Okay, so Kamanatin could easily zero out the Fire 3 damage. That hit for 285 with that physical attack. So definitely not going to beat that. We're going to have to wait on that one. Shit. I'm gonna go ahead and use a sidestep. And I'm gonna use a smite. And I'm actually gonna use a healing steel. Never mind. The two characters that had kinda important shit to get done both incapable of doing that. We'll see if the smite... Okay, the smite did stun. So... I don't know how long it's going to take me to wake up. And, I'm not going to wake up, apparently. That's just never gonna happen. Oh well. Okay, so what do I want to do here? Do I want... You know what? Because of the fact that Sordrell is so low, I'm actually just gonna warp out of here. Oh no, I warped out this side. Poop. Guess I have 2 free nights left still. Wow. I did not realize that. Well, that's fine. Got 2 free nights, save the game, and I didn't pick up any, like, recipes or anything in there. I'm wondering... I'm gonna go back in there. I'm gonna go back in the deep woods. I wanna see... what's to find in there. have another might ring. Do I have equipped on somebody? I do not. I have 2 might rings. I'm gonna go ahead and equip them both on Oberon. So Oberon should be able to hit dramatically harder now. Actually, he doesn't need the thick sword right now. So I'm actually going to equip the mithril sword on him and see what kind of a damage output he's able to put out with that setup. Let's give... I could actually give him the mithril axe if I wanted. You know what? Let's give him the mithril axe. Why the hell not? I do think that weapon weight has an impact on accuracy, though. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So... he's got the crystal thing on. Let's see. 200 damage. I'm gonna equip him with something other than this axe. This axe is... I think the weight does play an impact on accuracy, so... let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and use the mithril sword. Because I should probably equip a shield. Let me equip the magic defense shield. I'm going to trigger the counter out here first. That gives me more time to move around in the next area. So, have I fully explored down here? No. Okay, what are you? Well, probably not something I'm going to find out yet. I might, though. The nice thing is that because you have the one that can use AoEs, but most of these aren't AoEing, so unless I get moderately unlucky, I'm unlikely to have anybody die, because most characters can just handle them. With the exception of Ark the Noob. So he strengthened himself. I'm going to go ahead and hamstring the other one. Because between the attack increase and then hamstring, he's now worse off than he started. There we go. But yeah, I definitely need more... I should have used a sidestep at the start of this fight. It's too late now, but I should have used a sidestep. This is interesting, though, because these guys actually legitimately are only dangerous to Sordrell right now. Like, all of the enemies here are only dangerous to Sordrell. Anyone else who gets hit by these is just gonna shrug them off. $750 experience. Not too shabby. Okay, we need to TP out though. Okay, so we've gone down the far south. I'm gonna go back over here, and we're gonna... I think we're gonna go after the next hunt. I do wonder how I want to handle Sordrell. I think the next level is going to be an attack power level. I guess it's not, because I have to put 10 points into accuracy. But basically it will be an attack power level, because I put the 10 points into accuracy, which allows me to unequip the plus 10 accuracy item and swap it out for plus 10 might. So that's one thing that you want to always keep in mind when you're looking at your gearing choices, is how expensive is a stat to buy versus to just wear a piece of equipment that does it. So it costs only 4 for me to increase my accuracy, and it costs 7 to increase my attack power. So increasing my accuracy is a way better deal to keep myself at the cap. So, where am I going? Let's start this here. Go over here. So the other thing that I need to do, I'm wondering when I want to approach the Abyss. I guess I need to wait until I can handle the enemies outside the Abyss. But I don't know when that'll be, actually. It's something to consider, because the Abyss is something that you can do, as soon as you can do it, as soon as you can reach it, you probably want to do it, because you'll be able to get access to a bunch of high-level gear before you otherwise would be able to. And because the Abyss is sort of like a self-contained ecosystem unto itself, you don't really need to worry about it too much. Now, one of the key things about the Abyss is that I have a limited amount of rests in the Abyss. So I need to be careful. I have basically 3 rests per level, which is not a lot of rests. So I need to make sure that when I'm going, I basically have a very defensive build. Like this build that I have on Sordrell, that's not going to fly in the Abyss. So I'll do the calculations necessary to figure out the exact amount of defense that I need for each level. Because you also need to have attack power, because if you don't have any damage, then you're kind of just screwing yourself. And that place is very linear, so you're just going straight from bottom to top. So I'm going to want to make sure that I know, okay, before I go up to this next level, I need, you know, X amount of magic defense to deal with the freezes from the phoenixes. Before I go up to this next level, I need, you know, this amount to deal with this enemy here, type here, etc., etc. So that's the idea. Sorry, I just thought I heard somebody talking. It was probably my wife on the phone in the bedroom. Okay, so we're going to head over and deal with the next hunt now, and then we'll just sort of keep transitioning to the next hunt over and over. Now, the question is, can I handle the Ghast? The Ghast is going to be very RNG heavy. Like, there's no way to make yourself immune to his attacks. So I have concerns. Okay, we're buying a rune hat. I can use that rune hat to make a cover hat, which is the best helm that's available at this particular time. So it has the best defense that I have access to. So that's the other nice thing about a Grey Mage, is that the Grey Mage has the ability to have the best defensive setup regardless of types. Shit. I have a suspicion that Circle's gonna go down here. There's a lot of targets to burn through. That's promising. So we got through this turn. The chills aren't what I'm worried about. I'm worried about someone just walking over and punching me. Because the succubus can one-shot him too. And that guy used chills, so we should be safe. Unless I miss twice with... Oh. Okay. Oh man, that would have been absolutely beautiful if I just missed with everyone and then he just walks over and punches Sordrell in the face for the insta-get. Just be like, no! How could you do this today? So, yes, let's attack the least dangerous enemy that we have. Okay, so I'm gonna go rest, and I think that the lizard's gonna show up around here somewhere. Ba-da-ba. And hello. Okay, so onward we go. And there should be a lizard around here somewhere. Just need to find it. So. So for this, the zombie thing, we also have the ability to make at least one character immune to the paralysis. Okay, let's engage the rock lizard and find out what it does. And that's a physical attack. That's 1 damage. I can hurt it. Not for a lot, but I can hurt it. Okay. So it's hitting around for 91. Oh, I probably should have hamstrung it, huh? Yeah, I was really going after Veron. Okay, so I'm not going to be hitting it hard, but I am at least able to hit it for damage. So, how much... Okay, what I'm going to do... I'm going to pop concentration. And I'm going to change out my equipment. So... I don't need this anymore. So let's give him another nightmare. And then we can give the accuracy ring. What's it? Actually, that's pointless. 'Cause now he's not gonna now he's not gonna do any damage. So since he won't do any damage anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and give him a thick sword. And this critter is all out like melee, I think. So let's do that's good. I can get behind enemy lines. So what's his next on his agenda? God, he has so much stuff to learn. Alright, so... I'm gonna use a side step. So 32 base damage. I'm pretty sure that's going to do 0 to Kamanaton now. I think just the hamstring on its own is enough to drop him to the point that he does 0. So I can probably just drop a defender on Veron. And then just whittle him down. Wow. That was a 2 in 25 chance. It's less than 10%. Yeah, so he's doing 1 damage to Oberon. And Oberon doesn't have anything fancy right now. He's just using the 5 SP thing from Kamanaton. He does have poison attacks, so he does have the ability to cause problems for me in that regard. I need to make sure that I get the hamstring back on him before it wears off. Okay, he hit me for 285, but 285, coincidentally, is half of my HP. So as long as he doesn't do that again, I should be okay. Oh, wow! Very little HP on that thing. So it has very high physical defense, but it then has very low HP because otherwise you're going to run out of mana and not be able to finish it off. So, we just took that guy down, and we can now turn in the... Oh, we're going the wrong way. We can now turn that in. So, we just have the ghoul left, which is probably a bit troublesome. I don't know how I feel about this ghoul. Because I kind of feel like the ghoul's gonna kick the crap out of me. I haven't increased my damage at all. But that said, I wonder what tough breastplate does. I wonder if a tough breastplate is just really high defense. I anticipate that it's going to be pretty weak, though. It's not weak. So it's got 4 higher defense than... What? It has higher defense than the mithril armor. Well. Okay, it's substantially weaker than the crystal armor. Okay, so we want to get a full set of the tough breastplates, I guess. It's made out of iron, right? Where I get iron? No, I need to go to the next town to get iron. So, but I could make 3 of those. Now, basically all we need to worry about with this ghoul, I mean, not all we need to worry about, the ghoul does have like a hard-hitting physical attack. It's not that I can just completely ignore its physicals. Oh, did I make my perpetual robe? I did. It's a pretty serious drop, though. So, the danger aspect of this enemy is twofold. The first thing is that it's going to paralyze me, and then as a result of paralyzing me, keep hitting me until I die. But the biggest thing that it causes is doom. So the doom effect is an insta-give, and the thing that is relevant about the paralysis predominantly is just that the paralysis, if it affects Zordrell, will drop my DPS. Now, these things do not seem to have a lot of HP. So I think that with this current build, this current setup, I think we can do it. We just need a little bit of luck on our side. Because that ghoul was hitting pretty hard, but it also spends a huge number of its turns just inflicting paralysis over and over again. And all we need to do is have it miss Sordrell maybe 4 or 5 turns, and I think we can probably kill it. That's my hope, anyway. Because the goblin didn't have very much HP either. He died very quickly as well. And the scab's gone, so I just have sensitive tissue underneath. Okay. I'm really surprised how fast that happened. The scabbing over followed, and then the it's only been like a few days, but whatever. It's been less than a week at any rate. We're gonna go buy 2 sets of armor. 2 iron breastplates. Because, again, they're not as good as the crystal, but they're still pretty damn good. I mean, it's better than the mithril, which is a pretty big shock. Okay, so he's going to equip the mithril. We're going to engage the mutated ghoul. He's going to sidestep because the fight will last long enough for that to be relevant, I hope. And I need to just... Actually, you know what? He's in the back row. I'm just going to do absolute burst. He missed the doom, so first turn nothing happens. We've hamstrung him. Hit him for 600. Hit for about 800 damage. Turn 1. Stun's coming out. Misses the whole party. And I did not get a double attack because I suck at life. Stun's coming out, and it misses everybody again. So he did a critical and insta-gib Sordrell. Alright, well, we're gonna close this. Restart. That's sad. Very sad. Is he... I mean, I could have done a sidestep, but it's not worth it for this guy. Yeah, he's in the back row. So, just bad luck. So we got a big hit on Varan, who is in the back row. So hopefully that won't happen again. He's casting Doom, and that's a miss. That's a weak round. Okay, we got another Doom miss. And we missed with one of our attacks. So we're basically a full turn behind in damage right now. Oh, but there we go. So we literally only needed the one more round in order to kill him. So, all done. So, we've now completed all of the hunts in this area. That guy was, again, you just need the DPS for him so that you can actually kill him in a timely enough manner that you don't need to have ludicrous luck on your side. And with the current double attacks coming out of Sordrell, things go very quickly. So... I do think it might be interesting to try out a 4-monk strat at some point. Just because of how, like, bizarre it would be. Because you could actually build a monk, like, full-on tank. I don't know how well it would work, but you could do it. There we go. So you could basically have some of the party members in the front row and not have them be like built for defense, or sorry, built for offense in the beginning. And then you have like the glass cannon in the back that's built similar to how Sordrell is built here, only with more magic defense earlier so that he actually, you know, doesn't die horribly. And so then you have a couple of them that build the double attack immediately, and then the others do the regen. You could do, you know, interesting things. The problem is that that kind of a thing wouldn't really fit the way that I play, because you'd have to use consumables in order to keep your HP up and stuff like that. What was I doing? Oh, right, yeah. We finished our hunt, and we're going to turn it. So we got a rune ring, a mystic ring, precise axe. Southwest of the tower. Okay. Well, we have access to a new set of hunts. If I had to guess, I'd say I'm gonna get crushed by this thing. Because I think this is probably like a whole new like power classification. But we will find out. I might be fine. Probably not. If I had to guess, I would say no. But we'll find out. So this thing is magic resistance, which is good because I don't have anybody who's using magic right now. And so hopefully it will be the weakest of them in terms of like being able to fight my type of characters. That's the idea. That's my hope. But it will definitely be substantially beefier than the previous things that I just fought, so I suspect that this thing's just going to be one-shotting my whole party and making me cry. That's my assumption. So close to leveling. So, hello Scorpion. You can go ahead and sidestep. So that's 200 damage attack. I want to see how... Ooh, it can stone you. So my attacks are doing relatively normal damage. It hits for about 400 on Sordrell. I think that... I mean, one level isn't going to mean anything for this, but I'm gonna need some extra potency compared to what I have now. I'll have to... Let's see. Thing's hitting for, what, 100 something? So with it hitting for 100 something, I need like 60 more defense to trivialize the damage. But if I had 20 or 30 more defense, that would be enough to make me not as dead. It would allow me to potentially be able to sort of whittle it down without dying. So we got 92 here. Oops. 91. So Varan is really, really far behind the curve. The curve, rather, in terms of being able to survive these attacks. So I think I'm actually gonna level up because I'm about to level. So I'm gonna hit the next level, and then I'm going to end things there for today because I finished up all of the hunts, and I think it's time for me to go to the next continent. Taking out that scorpion, I think it would be totally possible if I wasn't on legendary. With a party this overpowered, obviously. But like with me on legendary, I just feel like that's a lot of damage to mitigate for probably a pretty extended period of time. So we are going to get our level up. So to this, and my current accuracy is 48, so we're going to get 2 points of accuracy, and then dump the rest into attack. Though, did I unequip? I unequipped that accuracy thing, so I don't know. I can't quite get my accuracy high enough in one level to start getting triple attacks, but it's something to consider. I think that I need more attack power right now anyway. I don't have enough attack power. So Kamanatin is going to spend 1 point in HP, and the rest is going to get dumped directly into physical defense. Same here. They're okay for magic, I think, right now. There. Okay, so I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you everyone for watching. It has been a pleasure to stream for you today. And next time we will go on to the other continents. I'll take a look and see when I can get to the Abyss, conceivably. I'm not sure if I can go there now, because I have a boat. So maybe I could just go over there. But that's it for today. Later, folks.